Hi there. It is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. This is just an update and like a quick, I thought that I would answer. I asked for some Q&A or ask me anything type questions earlier this week, and just got a whole bunch of cool ones from my good friend Sam. So I thought that I would go through some of that, but also to say, like, please keep submitting your questions or ask me anything. Like, you can literally ask me anything. I'll answer if I can, but it may be about this journey that I'm on. It may be about my background, maybe about even the personal development work that I have been engaged in, maybe even about some of the things of like my experience of being a talk therapist for the last 10 years or so. If those are kinds of questions that you have, please submit them, and I hope to be doing more of these as time goes on, so please do that. But before that I answer some of the questions that Sam had left for me, I thought that I would ask you a favor. For those of you who are watching, I'm wondering if you could let me know. Okay, so first of all, let me back up for a moment. I am hoping that these videos and my sharing of my story, I want it to not be, down or I mean, sometimes it's there's going to be some sadness, and sometimes it's going to be that there's going to be difficult things that I talk about, but I'm hoping that it's not coming across as something that's saddening and distressing. And I get the sense that maybe it's not, but I would really, if you would be so open or generous to share like what these videos and me sharing my story, like what it like why what it's meant for you, or like what it's been like for you so far, just to let me know, because for me to be recording these videos and putting them out there, my hope is that the message that I want to be able to impart is that by being vulnerable and sharing my experience, that there's something about it that you take away from for you in a positive way, I'm hoping. But I would really love to know what it's been like for you so far, whether it's in the comments below or different ways of like reaching out to me. Yeah, I would love that. So please let me know. With that, I would really, really appreciate it. I know that, everyone's busy and a lot going on in life, but if you can share your feedback with me, or how you've been feeling by watching these videos, that would be really, really great. Okay, so my friend Sam had asked me a bunch of questions. I'm going to just answer the first bit that he had asked. So he's given me a bunch of topics, and it looks like he is wanting to know yes or no. So there is, first of all, yes or no, natto. Natto is a Japanese fermented soybean product. It is a product, but it's fermented soybeans, and it is slimy, and it has a very specific smell. And a lot of people, it's a very you either love it or you don't like it. I don't think there's a whole lot of people that are kind of in the middle, or like kind of so-so about natto. It's a very pungent thing. I grew up eating natto from a very, very young age, so as far as I'm concerned, yes to natto. I love natto. One of the things that really stinks now, though, is that I used to blend in raw egg yolk into natto, and which in Japan is like totally fine. Learning now that raw things and like undercooked things now is something that's sort of off the table for me based on my my immunocompromised status. But natto is yes for me. The second thing that Sam asked about is yes or no to ikura. Ikura is salmon eggs, so it's a caviar. It's a form of caviar, but they're orange and they're a little bit larger than I think like most people think when they think about caviar. And salmon eggs is what they are. And when you bite into it, it kind of pops in your mouth. And again, like very, I think, acquired taste. I love ikura. Anytime that I would get sushi, I would always include ikura. So, which again is, I think, off the table for me for a while or something like that. I gotta think about that. But anyway, ikura is a yes for me, totally. Okay, Pepsi. I gotta admit, I'm more of a Coke person than Pepsi, but I've also not drank pop or soda, as some people say, in a very long time. I'm more of a Coke person, and I think toward the end of, like, I literally do not really drink any pop or soda. But if I were to have Coke, what I think about is a Coke float. Love Coke floats with not like soft serve ice cream, but the hard packed ice cream. For me, not a root beer float, but a Coke float. That would totally be a yes, but not Pepsi. Oh, I had to stop the video for a little bit because the building that I live in is having fire alarm testing, and they were just announcing that, so I just stopped that for a moment. So I was just kind of rambling on about how like I love Coke floats with hard ice cream rather than soft serve. So I'm no to Pepsi, not a Pepsi person. Okay, air fryer. Air fryer, Sam would like to know if it's a yes or a no. My understanding of what an air fryer is technically just a convection oven in a small appliance, a small kitchen appliance. You call it an air fryer. And by blowing hot air around the entire oven allows it to crisp things up in such a way that it's like actually deep frying. And one thing, we bought one earlier this year, and I will say, like, it's a small convection oven. And the one thing I will say is that, like, whether it's an air fryer or a convection oven, I think it's a great. Convection ovens are great. The one thing that is really good for is if you had been getting takeout during this time of quarantine quite a bit, like getting things that are fried or just even things that need to be heated up. I don't really eat a lot of fast food. I haven't in the past, and I certainly am not now. But if you were to get takeout fries or even something like a fried chicken or anything like that, if you throw it into a convection oven or an air fryer, I'd imagine, and just like run it for a few minutes, like 4 or 5 minutes, it really crisps things up and makes the takeout like that much better. So air fryer / convection oven, as far as I'm concerned, it's a yes. Oh, this one's interesting. More pace of play in MLB. Yes or no? I'm actually not going yes or no, am I? I'm just like kind of answering these in like long form. I am more of a baseball purist. I'm not, some of the rules that they put into play this year, I mean, make sense, because of like COVID, and they had to make things, a little bit more efficient, and, pace of play is a big conversation point in baseball. So what it essentially means is baseball, as it's played traditionally, can run, a very long time, like plus 3 hours. And sometimes it can be 3 hours plus with not a whole lot going on. And one of the problems that baseball has right now is the fact that because of these longer games, and because sometimes not a whole lot's happening in them, that it's a sport that in some ways is losing interest for a lot of people, especially the younger generation. and which is too bad, because baseball is a fantastic sport. The problem with also baseball is that the more information and analytics and data and ways of play have evolved over time, because they're able to switch out pitchers based on who would be the right match for a particular batter, and there's a lot of things that people have taken advantage of in the rules that have also made the games even longer. And so these longer games aren't doing any favors for baseball. So then the question is, like, if we could shorten the game time by introducing new rules, is it possible to make it more interesting for the people who watch it? So I think that is essentially the argument or the conversation around pace of play. I personally believe that like, things have to evolve, I guess, over time, but baseball's problem isn't just pace of play. Baseball's problem is that it's not sexy. There aren't that MLB, for whatever reason, aren't doing the same kind of social media and interest building with, whether they're like personalities in their players or just for the game in general. They just haven't really been great at taking advantage of getting interest for their sport as much as like the NHL or NBA, and even the other sports like soccer / football and things like that, European football. They've been miles behind in being able to generate the level of interest in the sports. So somebody like there's a pitcher. He's known to be a little bit controversial, but I think really great for the sport. His name is Trevor Bauer. He has a YouTube channel, and he is trying to create a media empire unto himself. But on top of that, he's also a really great pitcher who brings you into his thinking and how he is the pitcher that he is, which is fascinating, and you get really drawn into the sport as a result of that. There's also for instance, the Dodgers, who won the World Series this year. What they're doing with their social media, and they create these almost like ESPN type videos and things like that. I think that it's about creating connections, and MLB hasn't done that. So the long answer to this question of the yes or no, or more pace of play in MLB, is sure, but I think MLB's bigger problem is to engage their an audience, and they've failed to do it in terms of from an MLB systemic point to this point. I think that there are teams and there are certain players that are doing it independently of MLB, and that's really too bad, because there's, I think, a big opportunity there. Okay, rambling about baseball, but I can do that all day long. So the next one Sam would like to know is how I feel about ketchup on eggs. I like ketchup on eggs. And I think I've talked about, so that's a yes. I talked about how I prefer things more on the rarer side, whether it be eggs or even like steak and things like that. I don't know, like, I guess now this isn't the question that's being asked. I'm going to be more of a scrambled person or something. But yes, for ketchup on eggs for me. Fusion sushi. That's it. Non-spicy mapo tofu. I'm a non-spicy person, period. I think one thing that doesn't really get talked about a whole lot with Japanese foods is, if you go to Japan, there's very little in terms of spicy foods. I think wasabi, even if you were to go to a very traditional sushi place in Japan where they actually put wasabi in the actual sushi that they make, is very tiny amounts. But spiciness isn't like a big thing in Japanese cuisine. I think it's becoming more integrated, because I think a lot of the tourists go to Japan and say like, why aren't these things spicy or whatever. So there's a lot more of that now, but I would say that if you were to have gone to Japan like 15, 20 years ago to any restaurant, like you really wouldn't find anything a whole in terms of spicy. I don't have a lot of experience with like Chinese, like I guess Szechuan in this case, I think. Sorry if I got that wrong. In Japan. I don't recall like eating a lot of Chinese food in Japan, but I grew up eating mabo tofu in the Japanese version, I would say, of mabo tofu in my household. And there is like these instant packets where you can add the flavoring, but it's very Japanese, the Japanese version of mabo tofu, and I've always preferred the mild because I don't like spicy at all. The spicy can also be, my aversion to spicy can also potentially be from the fact that I do identify as a highly sensitive person, and I really feel the spice, and I taste things like it's a very visceral kind of a feeling with spiciness for me, so I don't enjoy it. Like I don't think of it as a flavor, I think of it as a sensation and spiciness, and I don't enjoy the sensation of spiciness. So yes to non-spicy mabo tofu. Spam musubi, I've never had it before. I know. There's been a couple of opportunities for me to purchase the spam musubi, but I've also have seen other things that I guess I would have rather picked up. So I've never picked up spam musubi. My understanding about the origins of spam musubi is it's from Hawaii, and it's a piece of spam. I don't know if it's cooked or not, and it's wrapped with seaweed over some rice. So it's essentially a rice ball with spam. I've never had it. Maybe one of these days I'll try it. Especially now that you've mentioned it. It's a big one. Last one. Pete Rose, is he guilty? Well, he's guilty. He gambles on baseball, so yes. Whether he should be reinstated or suspended or non-blocked from MLB, the world, MLB, like the baseball world, because he has been sort of like suspended from that, and should he be allowed to potentially be eligible for the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I mean, he did gamble. He did what he wasn't supposed to do. He broke the rules, and there's a lot of different arguments to be made for that. But Pete Rose was definitely one of the big, exciting players in the game, and he, I think, thought outside the box to be the player that he is. And one of the things that he, thought outside the box around was gambling on baseball. So he is guilty. Yes. He's admitted to it, and he apparently still gambles on sports. So he is that. Whether he should be reinstated or not, I don't know. I have a lot of kind of mixed feelings about that. So Sam, thank you so much for all those questions. This ended up being like a longer video than I thought it would be, but there are like more questions that Sam had given me, and I will go through them in another video. But again, if you have any questions for me as well, Q&A or ask me anything, like I said, please put them in the comments below, or reach out to me in the various ways that it's possible to reach out to me to ask questions, and I would be more than happy to answer them in a future video. So Sam, thank you so much for all your questions. Hopefully for those that are watching, this was interesting to hear my take on some of the stuff. And again, like, thank you so much. And something that I said at the beginning of the video, if you could just let me know your feedback about like what it's been like to watch these videos for you. Again, like whether through comments or through just reaching out to me in various other ways, I would very much appreciate it. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you again real soon.